Do you have conversations with your kids about that thought process you have on fear? A lot of people look at courage as being fearless, and I think that's completely incorrect, right? And I think a lot of other people do too. Like, courageous is having the fear and pushing through it anyways, right? So,
right.
And being able to take action anyways. So do you have that conversation about, like, I mean, you obviously have transcended that particular portion of your life, and you've shared it with the world in your book, and you talk about it with your podcast. How do you talk about it with your kids so that they can learn? Because I wish that I would have, because I was the same boat. I played football, and I got in there, and I was scared to death to get hit, and I didn't want to go do the things. But I mean, I didn't hit 5 feet tall or 100 pounds till 10th grade. So it took me, like, I was always a small guy. So that was always in the back of my head. But I wish that somebody would have talked to me about some of that fear and how to push through that. So how do you talk to your kids now about that fear? I would imagine, especially with your daughter, with the trials she's going through.
Yeah. I try to talk to them as a sense that this is to normalize it in a lot of ways. That this is normal, to feel fear, and that it's okay, and that feeling uncomfortable is okay. And that's one of the important things. I mean, we are so drawn to comfort. I mean, because we have it so readily available now, that it's just like, well, why would I choose discomfort instead of comfort? It's like, well, sometimes we need to see that fear as just like a healthy friend that's telling us something. And a lot of times our brain is the enemy by, interpreting that fear the wrong way and telling us, garbage things like, like my brain would tell me, oh, you can't do that. You're not an Ironman athlete. Are you kidding me? You can't do that. Why don't you just go back to drinking beer and feeling sorry for yourself? But that was like, that's not the fear telling me that. That's just my brain interpreting it, And so I try to convey to them that, and I think the thing about fear is, I mean, like, we can be there, and fear in fatherhood is like that we can be there to guide our kids and help them to try to understand it, but they're still going to feel it, and they're still going to have to kind of work through it and go through it, because that's always the battle. I feel it's like, well, I want to make sure they understand what's happening, but I also want to make sure that they go through the experiences too, so that they can grow from it. Does that make sense? Like, it's just, I don't want to shield them from the challenges of like experiencing it, and
of course,
but I want to make sure that they understand, that they work through it. Yeah.
So, I mean, working through it is something that could go a bunch of different directions. So, like, where's that point where you say, okay, well, how do I see they're at a pivot point. Do I let them go through this particular portion, or is this now is the time? Like, I mean, there's no perfect thing. I'm just curious on your thoughts. On when you feel is the right time to come in and like, as I struggle with some of the stuff with my son. Like, just today, Adam was trying to go buy a bottle of water. He's got this fear of communicating with people, so he gets real shy. And part of me, I think, is my fault, because I used to tell him that daddy was shy when he was a kid too, and blah blah blah. So now he's just like, oh, okay, it's okay to be shy. I'm just going to be shy. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not telling you that you should be shy. I'm telling you that you could work through it, and I just didn't communicate that well. So trying to figure out, like, okay, at what point do I really just step in and work on this, or just kind of let him figure it out? And because the fear could be debilitating. Like, it can, if we let it get out of control, it can really get to the point where you just don't do things in life because you're afraid of it. So, like, tell me about a time, maybe that's an easier way to say it, on where you chose to come in and have that conversation about fear and how to push through it in a certain scenario. Yeah.
And I think, so, yeah. And here's where I might be struggling through it a bit, is because, I think what I've discovered is that the times that I've done that have not been necessarily helpful. Like, I might just, like, if I think people experience fear in a different way, and for my son or daughter, it's like, they kind of take after, they kind of have like a little bit more outbursty kind of stuff, like, gosh, like it comes out as like, more aggression and things like that, which when I don't know, like, it's like kind of like when you tell people, hey, calm down, and it's like, yeah, probably not a good idea. But like, but that's like always been like my fear has always popped up, like, what is it, reverting or going inward and like just quieting down and getting really so it's the more flighty on my end. But so when I've tried to do that, I think I've escalated. And I tend to be, like, I think, viewed in the family amidst these things as kind of the escalator in those situations. So I'm more of like, in the moment, I have to kind of say, look, it's probably a good idea just to take some time and, just like, do what you need to do on this. But one of the best things that we've done, I think the most helpful thing that we've done for all of our collective relationships is, I think everybody in the family has a therapist, has their own therapist. I know that sounds super expensive, not as expensive as drinking, but still pretty expensive. But it's been hugely valuable. Like my son has somebody that is unique to him that he can talk to, that he trusts, that can, like, that can help him work through a lot of those. And that's not like I'm outsourcing like fatherhood or anything like that. I'm just giving another outlet because I'm not the right person at the age that they're at to be the one to, I guess, help them navigate the fear or that part of it. I'm like kind of the, but I'm still like the guide in a lot of ways, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does.
Yeah. So then same with my daughter.
I think that's wise. I mean, there was one Fambundance trip that we were on where they talked about, how hard do we all work to find good coaches for ourselves and our business and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then what are we doing to provide that same opportunity for our kids that put the right people that match what they need? Because like I have a coach for my son's golf stuff. Like, he really wants me to do the coaching. I'm like, dude, I'm not a golf coach. I'm moderately okay at golf. You are going to be absolutely crushing me soon. It's not my job to teach you how to golf. I need to get you somebody to help you how to golf. So, maybe the same thing is working with the fear side of the house as well, because it's, if I still struggle with these things, and that's where I try to be vulnerable with them, right? In that sense, and say, hey, these are the fears that Dad still has, and these are the things that go on in my brain, so that they know that they're not alone in this, right? That there's other, but it doesn't mean that I'm the right person to really help them face their fears, like, we were doing a rock climbing wall at, I don't remember where it was, Universal Studios or something. So Adam was climbing. He loves those things, right? So he gets up and he's used to doing it at Sky Zone. In Sky Zone, there's like these big, like puffy blocks of foam on the bottom. So you just jump off the wall and you land in the puffy blocks of foam. Well, here, there wasn't. It was one of those little tether things, and you just kind of lean off the wall and it lowers you down slowly. He gets 3/4 of the way up and he looks down and he says, Dad, how do I get down? And I was like, but you're attached to the thing. Like, you just fall off the wall. He's like, no, I don't. Like, he started freaking out. And I was like, dude, you climb these things all the time. What is going on? Like, and it was like a, man, this is going to take some work. And it was funny because it got to the point where when I finally told him, I said, okay, fine, you can just come down. That he finally chose to go up. Because he was like, no, I'm getting down. How do I get down? And I was like, buddy, you're okay. You got it. Push. I'm trying to encourage him to go. And then I was finally like, you know what, buddy, you're fine. Just start to work your way down. And then he looked down and started to go. And he's like, nope, I'm ringing the bell. And he started going up. And I was like, well, right when I thought I was trying to, like, I don't know what the right answer is. I can't figure it out. But so, like, I don't know what to do to encourage him to do certain things. But it's I don't know. It's a trial and error, I guess, everywhere I go.
Yeah, well, I think that's the key message of parenting in general, is just tell your kids the opposite of what to do. They will do the opposite. So.
There we go. Yeah. I want you to climb, I'll tell you to get down, and then you'll know how to climb. So yeah, that's valid. Yeah. But man, oh man, that's funny.
Yeah.
But what sort of things do you, to pivot a little bit, what sort of fun things do you guys do as a family? I think I read that you like to travel a lot and do, like you got a camper. Is that right? You guys go out camper? Yeah. So tell me fun things you guys like to do.
Yeah. So we just got about a year ago, we just got a Sprinter van. So we were one of those families with a converter Sprinter. And we're starting to take that out a bit more. And, we just got back from a fun, like, Montana trip that we did, like, up through Montana. It was really great. So that's a lot of fun. We my parents live in Hawaii now, so that gives us a nice little vacation destination to go to. So we travel out there, just try to go and that was one of the reasons too. Like, during COVID, I think one of the benefits that happened was we were able to close down our corporate office and sold the corporate office. And I was so grateful for this because I've always been an advocate of like, being able to have great family or life, just, at home balance with work. And, the idea of going into an office was always rubbing on me. Why are we doing this? Why? And I understand it to some degree that some people do need to go in the offices, but from our standpoint, it was just like, well, I'm going to work. I'm sitting in 2 hours of traffic. I get to the office and I go into my office, and occasionally I'll talk to people. And, we can actually do that on these devices that we now have. So anyway, COVID allowed us to close down shop, and it gave a good excuse for that. And voila, it worked. And everybody at home working.